Hello, my name is Nanette Besson, and I would like to introduce to you the Incubating Iceberg, a systematic and relational crisis communication model that I developed in 2026. The model is based on several communication and sociological theories. It is based, for example, on Lesbol, Václavic, Schulz von Thun, and also sociological theories like Luhmann's system theory and Habermas' communicative action and the constructivism. This whole model is based on defining crisis communication as a crisis situation for organizations or companies that through a trigger get into a situation that is threatening and cannot be really controlled easily. And of course, the situation will always have a lot of emotions and severe public relevance. The model is starting out at the core communication between the company, the organization, and the first stakeholder group. The whole framing of the model is chosen to be not normative, so it is not judging who is responsible and whose fault it was or who is the victim. It is trying to be more objective in the framing. And the model shows the picture of an iceberg because the trigger, the initial thing that makes the crisis become public, that is triggering a conflict or a communication cell between the company and the first stakeholder group that initially will not be immediately public, but then, of course, this core communication cell and the trigger starts developing a public sphere through, for example, the theory of Gerhard and Neidhardt, how a public sphere is being created by spontaneous communication, by events, campaigns, protests, and by media, of course. So the part below the water would be the core communication cell, which is the company with the directly affected stakeholder group. They have a relation and they are both acting as parts of their own systems. So they have an interaction which is defined by the differences between them and the discourse and the actions that they actually go through. Also, the core communication cell is defined by the messages and the media that they choose, how they communicate with each other. So this core communication cell is happening, not all public, of course, publicly, but then through public awareness, it becomes like reported into public. And of course, it is accompanied also by emotions, which are always there in the crisis situation because it is a threatening situation and something really suddenly changed. So those emotions are in that picture being the waves of the ocean. And then the upper part of the iceberg would be stakeholder communications, which arise through this public discussion, public awareness that comes up. And then those communications will also be little systems of communications that deal with, for example, the company or deal with and communicate with each other, communicate also with the first stakeholder group. So there's a lot of little communication systems, which is like a whole system of systems, sort of. And they are all happening in the environment of law, media, society, ethics, trends, and economy. So the crisis communication is based on a very one-to-one sort of communication process, which then also is being transferred into public partly, and public sphere also has a lot of communication going on, which really makes it difficult to steer, to manage, to control the whole situation for the company. The essence of this model is to analyze a crisis communication situation and the process itself. So you can analyze it at different points of time so that then you can evaluate what changed and which behavior or which actions or which parts of the whole communication process had which impact. So this is the core structure of the model, and I would like to get into details now further on. Thank you.